This video is brought to you by BTI Institute, a New Jersey leader in certification-based management training.
Hi, my name is Glenn Campbell. This is what I do for a living. That looks like fun? Yeah, you're right, it is. You know what? I deal with the exact same problems you do. I have terrible low budgets, bad schedules, and I work for bosses that don't understand my job but want to tell me how to do mine anyway. I'm going to walk you through an entire episode of the show. I'm going to take it from beginning to end and show you all the mistakes that got made, how I handled them, what I didn't handle, what worked, what didn't work, and you will see that we do the exact same thing. The only difference is it's compressed. I spend lots of money and lots of time, but I do it in weeks what you do in a year. Is it me? Am I live? Am I here? Hello. Guess what I do for a living? Yeah, everybody in Hollywood has these because we're nuts. No, it's not true. I'm a nerd, so I got this one on my own because I'm a nerd. But I do work essentially in the same business you guys do. I work for people that don't know what I do or understand it, but they tell me what to do and why I'm not doing it right. And that's the whole point of why I'm here today, to show you that you're not alone. We really do all work in the same business, and we all work with the same mindset. Many people fail to understand this, and especially about Hollywood, but I think it works in your business as well. And it's the one crucial thing that no one ever understands. And for all of you people who go, I was meant to ask you, how come we see the same movies over and over? Why do the TV shows, are they so bad? They just keep repeating themselves. There's a reason for it. And this works down the line to any business, but especially in Hollywood. Every decision that a studio executive makes is based on fear. Will I lose my high-paid, cushy job if I'm wrong? You all recognize that. This resonates. Every studio exec says, if I make an original film and it fails, my boss will say, we just spent $100 million on a movie that flopped. Who greenlit that? And there you are. You're getting fired. On the other hand, if you say, we haven't made a Terminator movie in forever, and those always make money, and you make the new Terminator, which came out this year and flopped, your boss goes, the Terminator movie flopped. Who did that? And you say, sir, the last 5 Terminators made a lot of money. Who knew this one wouldn't? And they go, I see your reasoning. Your job is safe this time. That is how every decision is made. So let's go into our slide presentation, and I will show you and walk you through how this happens. So somebody else, there we go. That's me. I have worked for many studios through the years. I've worked for major studios on major movies. I've worked on movies like Star Trek and Blade Runner and that sort of thing. Yes. One of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that as a visual effects supervisor, one of my primary jobs is problem solving. My job is never the same. Look at these 4 pictures. 1 minute I'm doing a spaceship with the sun rising behind it. The next minute I'm doing a guy turning into a motorcycle. The next minute I'm having a guy chainsaw a flying shark. We'll get into that later. And the shot I'm most proud of is this shot from The X-Files. This is from an episode called Home. It was banned. It was only aired once on Fox National Television. It horrified everybody. And they said, this will never run again. And it was so popular that it was demanded when they did the Halloween, let's run the top 10 X-Files episodes. This was the #1 episode everyone requested. Now, what you're looking at there is a amputee woman on a gurney. The sequence, this was a shock moment. The script called for, there's a noise under the bed. They see a woman that they believe has been kidnapped by a bunch of murderous hillbillies. It turns out it's their mom. She lives under the bed. Don't ask, it's a weird episode. But there's a shock moment where they pull this woman out and find out that she is an amputee, that she has no arms and no legs. So everyone looked at me and said, how are you going to do that? And I asked myself, how the hell am I going to do this? So I came up with an idea and I said, what we're going to do is we're going to get a gurney. We're going to cut 4 holes in it. And the actress will lie on the gurney and put her arms and legs into the 4 holes so that they're underneath the gurney and she can just grab her own ass and hang on to it. Then you guys can stick prosthetic limbs onto the parts of the body above the gurney. Then we can just pull her out and that's what you'll see. But of course, her legs will be visible from underneath the gurney. So we used a computer-controlled camera and we did the scene twice. We did the scene with the actors. They pulled her out. The camera rose up to a position to see what you're seeing right there. Then we cleared the set and the computer camera did the exact same move again with no one in the room. And that gave me an empty floor. And then using the computer, I was able to paint out her legs and then use what you see here. So this is considered one of the most shocking moments on television, and I did it. So very proud of myself. So this is what I do for a living. I love my job. It's never the same. And the only thing I have to deal with is the same thing you deal with, bureaucrats. Next slide. So what are visual effects? People think whenever they hear that, oh man, your job is so cool. You do like giant robots and spaceships and things. And yeah, sometimes we do. Sometimes we get to do really cool stuff. But the actual true nature of visual effects, they were created by the studio for 3 things. They save time, they save money, and they save lives. The idea is that if you have a scene in a script that says, Mom is in Paris, she's sipping tea at a cafe, the Eiffel Tower is visible in the background, she gets a phone call, your son is dead, come back to the States. Then the movie starts properly. Well, you need that scene to establish Mom's out of town, she's got to fly in and do whatever she needs to do. But are you really going to go to Paris for 1 shot? No. What you're going to do is you're going to find a restaurant here in Los Angeles that looks vaguely European, shoot it, and then my phone will ring and they'll say, can you paint the Eiffel Tower in the background? Because we need to make her look like she's in Paris for 1 shot. That saves you money and it saves you time. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was made in 1982, I believe, somewhere in the 80s. If you remember, it takes place in the 40s. And there is a scene when Indiana Jones walks out onto a balcony and overlooks Morocco. And you see nothing but ancient Morocco. Well, they didn't have computer control, digital compositing back in those days. So what they had to do is Steven Spielberg sent a PA out to every house in the shop and gave them money to take down their satellite dishes, which were on the roof of every house, so they could make it look like it was the 40s. Now we would digitally paint them out, but that is what visual effects do. We save them money. When you do a shot, for example, what you're seeing here, you have, this is from the Lone Ranger. This is the Lone Ranger on silver chasing after a train next to a cliff. So can you afford to have a stunt guy and a stunt horse drive past a real train that happens to look like this on a precarious cliff? The answer is, unless even with Steven Spielberg's money, no, you usually can't do that. So what did they do? They filmed a guy riding on a horse on a flat plane, and down below, you see what happens when a bunch of people, a bunch of nerds get their hands on a computer. This is what we do. Next slide. Everybody knows this, and nobody ever wants to accept it on the high end of the business end, but it's true. The triangle always works. It's quality, time, and money. That's what it boils down to. It's the triangle, the classic triangle. You only get 2 sides of it. People don't believe that. They go, well, Hollywood's got zillions of dollars. They don't have to do that. No, they do. Even if you look back to Titanic, which is at the time, the most expensive movie ever made. Titanic cost $300 million to make at a time when most movies cost 20 to 50. Jim Cameron spent $300 million. Of course, the movie made $1 billion, so at the end of the day, nobody complained. But you can bet they complained a lot while it was getting made. However, even Jim Cameron had to deal with the triangle of time, money, quality. There are shots in Titanic that if you look at them, they do not withstand the test of time. When you see the shots of the boat traveling through the water, you see all these crew members and cast members walking on the boat, and they look like robots because they had little CG people going. Jim Cameron wasn't happy, but the movie had to come out, and that's what's in the movie forever and ever. So yes, everybody has to deal with the triangle. What I have to explain to producers is that they can't keep cutting time in order to get their show done to save money. Essentially, I tell them, look, what you're asking me to do is to get 9 women pregnant and have a baby in a month. And what that means is I have to have more people. If you're not going to give me more time, I need to bring in more people. I need more staff. And that's where we get into trouble. I'm going to read you I'm going to leave off the names, but I'm going to read you an actual email thread where I told my boss this was happening. I needed to have an extra artist come in because we were having problems. So this was on Wednesday. Dear boss, I come before you to respectfully request OT for the production. This movie has a set delivery date of Tuesday, August 24th, which is 13 days from today. Without authorized weekend OT, this means the visual effects department actually only has 9 days from today to deliver 84 shots. 13 days is a difficult proposition. We would like to procure any additional days that can be extracted from our client without incurring punitive damages. As always, we will do our very best to provide the quality we all expect, but 9 days is insufficient time to do so. I'm requesting OT for this weekend for the following people. Please advise. Later that day, 8:17 p.m. Can you please share salaries with me so I can see dollar amount on these overtime requests? We do so. These are based on 8-hour OT for each day. I asked for this on Wednesday. Saturday, 1 a.m. These are approved. The only reason I know it got approved is I had to go to the bathroom, so I got up to pee, and out of perverse curiosity, I thought, it's been 3 days. I don't think we're getting overtime authorization. And I happened to look at my email, and yes, at 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 days after I asked, they said, oh, you are approved. Of course, my team has gone home for the weekend. One guy's in San Diego with his kids. Another guy's going off to a video game convention. And I have to say, guys, it turns out we're working after all. So we do the work. We work really hard. I get this email when they send in the bill. What happened here? I approved a total of 16 hours of OT per person. Well, we billed for 19 hours. We actually worked 26 total hours, making everything happen for the deadline. Thank you, by the way, for authorizing the OT. We could not have delivered the show with our truncated schedule without your timely assistance. This is what I deal with. This is what you deal with, but this is me dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars on a weekend because someone somewhere went, are you sure you really need to work OT? This is what I do for a living. I don't cry wolf. This is what I'm here for. And yet we always get questioned by people who've been doing this for literally 25 years. And yet they will say, oh man, I got to look under the couch cushions to see if I have a little extra cash. Our jobs are the same. Next slide, please. This is what we get asked to do. This is an example of how things go wrong, even when you plan for them in Hollywood. We had a script that said 2 guys have a gunfight on a boat during a raging storm. That's great. Writers can write whatever they want. The idea was that we would rent a boat, we will film it on sea, visual effects will simply add storm effects to make it look like there's a raging storm. What happened was they took the boat out to sea and literally everybody, cast and crew, got seasick instantly. As soon as they hit the water, everybody went, whoop, and that was it. So back to the shore they go, but they still have to make a movie. So what do? They put the boat back into the dock. And as you see in the above panel, the actors simply said, we're out in the ocean having a gunfight. We had to extract all of that, put them in a raging sea, and create everything around them. So what was going to be, you guys just add some rain in the foreground, became you do everything. So that shot went from, this is going to take about 20 minutes and cost about $300, now went to, this is going to take a couple of days and cost you a couple of thousand. But again, it's cheaper than going out and doing it for real. Next slide. This was a different scene. They had a crashed helicopter. Now, they actually spent the money. They went out, they rented a helicopter, took it out to the location, pushed it over on its side, and this is supposed to take place during an Arctic storm. So they put some snow on the ground. And of course, they knew, this is courtesy of visual effects, we told them, you only need to put just enough snow for where the actors are. We will take care of the rest. So above, you see the actual location, helicopter on its side, actors running over white cornflakes, because that's what that is. Below, we went online and said, I need to find a wintry scene. So I did a Google search, found a nice wintry scene that I thought looked pretty, and photoshopped everything around them. This took me all of 4 hours. But again, imagine if they'd said, no, you really need to be in the Arctic with the crashed helicopter. So you can't tell in that shot, but the helicopter is actually on fire and there's smoke pouring out of it. All of that was done in post by me in 4 hours. Next. This is a running sequence of actual footage so you can see what it looks like in motion. Again, the script writer can write whatever he wants. In this particular case, this script said, car drives down a wintry road, skids on the ice, and loses control and goes over a cliff. So we had to do the car driving out of control. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can pay a stunt driver, and you can have him actually drive a car down a road, spin the car out, and hopefully not die. You also have to have behind the camera a safety crew, a fire truck, medical, all because if anything goes wrong, that all has to be anticipated and dealt with. So that means what you see on camera isn't the full expense. You're paying a stunt driver to drive a car, that's expense number one, but behind the camera is an entire safety crew poised and ready with a fire truck in case the car crashes and catch fire, medical crew in case he crashes the car and needs assistance. All of those things are behind the camera. This shot of a driver skidding a car around in real life would cost you roughly about $20,000 to stage because of the guys behind the camera. We, on the other hand, said, give me your plate. And Tammy Klein, the artist who did this particular shot, put down a fake ice patch, as you can see. She put falling snow, and we animated a 3D car driving along the road and hit play, and this is what we did. And how long did that take? Screech, dun, 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 boom. That took all of a day, and it cost us $500 as opposed to $20,000. This is where, once again, we get into fights with the studio, because the studio will say, $5,000, that seems like an awful lot. And we say, but you didn't spend $20,000. The problem is that that's not real money to them. The problem is they say, well, yeah, we didn't spend $20,000, but we spent $5,000, and we think $5,000 is a lot. They don't understand that the $15,000 that they saved actually technically exists. To them, it doesn't, because they never spent it. They don't understand the job of visual effects is to save them money. What we did was prevent them from spending $20,000, but because they never spent it, they argue over the money they did spend. So it's a constant battle to make them understand we're not here to make you money. We're here to save you money. This is an example of another stunt. These are two actors that are running towards their car, and a meteor comes down and almost hits them. Those are not stunt people. Those are the actual actors. They've actually been asked to do a stunt, and they kindly agreed. So there's actually a stunt pad just below the camera that they're going to fall on. But everything else that you're about to see is us. Hit play. Boosh. Stop. So this is the same movie. There's a meteor sequence. People are dodging meteors left and right. If you were to do this for real, you would have to dig a hole in the ground, put an explosive charge in it, cover it back up, have wires leading off behind the camera, and wait for a stunt driver in that car to drive to that point whereupon you would trigger the explosion. Again, This is a $10,000 minimum of a $10,000, $20,000 shot because you're paying an explosive expert to rig up the road. You again have a fire truck and a water truck in case something goes wrong to hose everything down so we don't start a fire. This is $20,000 to do this shot. On the other hand, we did it digitally in a day in about 3 hours, and it probably cost them $500. Hit play. That's all us. Same thing here. Hit play. Those smoke and fire elements were shot 3 years ago. We went out on a stage, we got a flamethrower and a couple of logs, and we set a whole bunch of stuff on fire and shot it against black. We have a huge library of burning stuff. And whenever we need something to burn, we go to the library and go, this fire looks about the right size, and we literally just stick it into the shot. So that library has been amortized over years since we acquired it. Next shot. This is, again, for saving time and money. This is one of the jobs of visual effects. In this particular shot, we have an actor that's supposed to be running over shattering ice. That's dangerous under real conditions. You either have to have someone running on a frozen lake and hope they don't fall in and die for real, or you have to rig up a fake frozen lake and have all your actors and stunt people, again, spending tens of thousands of dollars to stage an event of an actor runs across a frozen lake, it cracks, they fall to their death. So what do? They shoot the actor against green screen and we take over. So hit play. That's what we do for a living. This is an example of safety. This is supposed to be an actor being dragged out of a hole in the plane. There's an explosion, the side of the plane gets ripped open from an explosion, and he's sucked out to his death. So they actually spent money this time. They actually had a stunt actor. He is on a wire that you can clearly see, and they dragged him out of the plane onto a stunt pad. From that point on, we took over. What we had to do was get rid of the green screen, make it look like we're outside. We had to do the fireball that blew up in the plane, and we had to add the camera shake, the camera lighting, and all of the effects to make it look like this guy was thrown to his death. So please hit play. Yipes, there he goes. Now, this one from the same movie, these actors are in the middle of a snowstorm. They're at the airport going, well, we're gonna get on a plane, honey, and we're gonna take the kids home, and we will leave this movie because nobody wants to die. Notice, if you look on the left, that it is a nice clear day, not a cloud in the sky. We put snow on the ground and on the cars because this is supposed to be an Arctic apocalypse happening. And if you look on the right, you will notice that there's a stormy sky and they are now in a maelstrom. Hit play. And they're not going home because this happened. And as you can see, if you look up, please freeze. If you look on the left, it's a nice, bright, sunny day. We're over at the Van Nuys Airport. We're shooting at the Van Nuys Airport, and we put some snow on the ground, some fake snow on some cars. And on the right, you can see maelstrom, huge fireball. That's all us. This took a week to do, but again, imagine the cost if we had done it any other way. Play. This happens to be the artist that did the skidding shot. That's Tammy. In this particular case, she's actually an actress, and she is doing a tomb raider sequence where she is trapped in a tomb that's collapsing, and she takes her notebook full of all the information that will save lives, and she throws it through the collapsing door. Once again, the script said, door closes, she's trapped inside the tomb. We would have had to build a rigged door and have it slowly coming down for one shot. So rather than do that, we simply shot the shot blocked off. We added the earthquake effects afterwards, and we did an animated door coming down. Hit play. And we just saved a ton of money. Same thing here. There she is running from the earthquake. And again, we went over to Griffith Park where they had an old exhibit for the monkeys. And they built a new one, and this was literally up on the hills, unused. It's now just a tourist area where you can walk through it. So we took that area, had the actress run through, and we added earthquakes. Hit play. That's all us. Hit play. Fire stunts frequently are done for real. They get actors, they put them in fire retardant clothes, they put flame resistant gel on them, and the actors, tend to do, whatever they do. A full fire burn is extremely expensive. It's one thing to light a guy's jacket on fire. It's another thing to have him engulfed head to toe, especially his head and hands. It requires a huge amount of time, effort, and money. Again, fire crew behind the camera and very expensive props and fire gel to do a full burn. So they said, well, what if we got a regular stunt guy and set his jacket on fire and you guys helped? So as you can see, this is a expensive looking stunt that was actually done very inexpensively. Play. So again, this is what we do. Now stop. We had a sequence, if you could go back just a little bit, we have a sequence where we were doing a killer clown movie. And at the end, of course, the guy has to die a horrible death because, he's the bad guy and he deserves to die a horrible death. So his evil lair, his clown lair, gets set on fire. So again, this is a safety issue. This is a money issue, but particularly safety. That is our lead actor, the evil clown, running around saying, oh my God, my empire is dissolving around me. Woe is me. So once again, to save money and to save safety, the actor simply ran around on his set. There's no smoke, there's no fire. And if you watch the sequence, we added every bit of action to the scene. So hit play. Now he looks like he's in danger. This is my favorite shot. Now, it is a well-known fact, actors are idiots. You cannot trust them to chew gum and walk at the same time, and you certainly can't trust them with even a burnt-out match on a set. Something will go wrong. So we had a sequence in which someone was supposed to throw a Molotov cocktail during a riot. So once again, we were called upon to work our magic. This is the scene. Yes, we set a dog on fire. Stop. So here's an example of what we do. People say, wow, that's amazing. How do you do that? This is how we do it. Here's a shot of a Chinese restaurant that is supposed to be burning. Someone burned it down for the insurance. So we needed to show this happening. So what you're looking at is a shot of, this is actually our soundstage across the street from where we work. And we dressed it up to make it look like it was a Chinese restaurant. So we went out and rented a bunch of Chinese dragons, got some Chinese lanterns, Japanese lanterns, and created this effect. So this is the art department making the front door of our studio look like a Chinese restaurant. And over on the right, this is what we did. So that's what the shot looks like. Here's how we did it. I went into Photoshop. I painted out the windows to make it look like it was damaged. We took our fire stock elements of smoke and fire. I put them inside. Then I took a separate set of elements and did this for the outside. And this is the final shot. This is what I do for a living. This is what we do every day. Next. Now, Sharknado. Yes, I know. I worked on Star Trek. I worked on Tron. I worked on Blade Runner. When I die, it's going to say, guy that worked on Sharknado. I have to deal with that. It's like Pete Townsend. He's written a million songs, but when he dies, it's going to say, guy that wrote Tommy. Douglas Adams wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's written a dozen books since then. But when he dies, it's going to say Hitchhiker's Guide. So yes, I've made my peace with the fact that my life will say, summed up in, I worked on Sharknado. So this is an example, again, saving lives and saving money. Sharks are not trainable. Steven Spielberg thought you could train sharks like dolphins when he made the original Jaws. He was very quickly disabused of that notion, and they said, no, they will eat your cast. So we're gonna have to build a big mechanical shark. Well, they had the money to. We didn't, so we do it digitally. So we have our actress on a kayak in a very shallow pool out in the ocean, and we add the fish. I know they're not fish, but hit play. So this is us saving people's lives. This is what we do. We take an actual plate from an underwater plate and we add the shark, and this is how we do it. So there's our shot, the way you see it in the movie. Hit play, please. That's what it looks like. Oh, we got attacked by a dolphin. Stop. This is what it looks like to the computer. We actually built a CG shark and a CG dolphin. To the computer, it sees them as these wireframe creations. We animate them in wireframe, then we add texture and lighting, and we create the final effect. And what you see on the left is what I do for a living. What you see on the right is what we make it look like to you. Play. Thank you. All right, this is the fun stuff. Now, we knew we were going to do shark stuff. That's what we do for a living. We planned for it. This was not planned for. This is where visual effects gets a phone call saying, you did what now? You want us to do what? Hit play and get ready to stop. Bingo. Stop. Back up just a little bit. There you go. Stop right there. The script called for our heroine to pull out a knife to fight off the shark. Our director was in Florida and said, I need a knife. So he went down to Toys R Us and bought this big plastic fake knife. And not only did he have a plastic fake knife, he shot close-ups of it and featured it on camera. You could actually almost read the word Mattel written on that knife. It's a toy. So my phone rings and they're, can you fix this knife? We had 12 shots. We were only supposed to do the shark. Suddenly, we had to do 12 shots of make this knife not suck. So we had to go through and add a shiny steel knife to replace the plastic toy. Now, you and I both know you could go to any junior high school, go to the principal's office and say, do you guys have any knives you've collected from your students? And we could have gotten a real knife. But here we are. Hit play. That's what we did. So yes, even in the wide shots, we had to make it look like it was a shiny metal knife. Play. Just adding that little metallic sheen to it gave it the look of, I am not a large plastic toy. Now, locations. Once again, studios need to save money. This is an example of, look, these guys are supposed to be in Egypt. They're only there for a short period of the film, but we're not going to fly to Egypt just for 10 minutes of screen time. So what do? We shoot them against a likely looking piece of rock that looks kind of pyramid-y. It's the best thing we could find. And then again, we go online and we found some pictures of the actual pyramid, and here you go. This is from Pompeii. Our actors are supposed to be in modern-day Pompeii when Mount Vesuvius erupts yet again. Believe it or not, we actually spent money on this one. We actually did go to Pompeii. However, not for the entire movie. What we did, and this is true, I'm not kidding, we went to Pompeii, we bought tickets for a tour like everybody else, and we brought our cameras in. And as they went on the tour, and the tour guide would go, here are some ruins. Let's walk around the corner and see some more. As soon as they walked around the corner, our actors pulled out the camera and went, oh my God, we're in Pompeii and there's an earthquake. And then they would go back, catch up with the crew again, wait for them to leave, turn on the camera and go, we're still in Pompeii, there's an earthquake. So we actually shot in Pompeii, but we only did that for a day. So we needed other shots of Pompeii. So this was shot in Romania, and we used the pictures that we got from Pompeii, stuck them into the shot, and that really is Mount Vesuvius in the background, and we simply added our effects to make it erupt. This is, again, saving time and money. The end of a movie, everyone was supposed to land a plane. There's a terrorist on board. There was things going on. And at the end of the day, they killed the terrorist. Everybody gets off the plane safe and sound. And the ground team, which has been featured in the entire film, comes to meet our heroes at the landing strip. That's great for a writer to write. Think about the cost. We have to find an airport. We have to get rescue vehicles, helicopters, and shoot on an active airport, or find one that's closed, or shoot on a weekend, or find something. This is expensive as hell to actually shoot. Or you shoot your actors against green screen. We go online, find a picture of a runway, add CG cars and CG helicopters, and we do what we do. Hit play. Everything behind them is digital. Nothing is real here except the people. And this is how we did it. Stop. So we went online and literally found a picture of an empty runway and said, okay, we can use this. So we started with the empty runway. Hit play. And we tracked it to what the actors were doing. This is a digital airplane, just like the Shark. You can see we tracked it, color timed it, added textures. There it is. We added CG helicopters in the sky behind the plane. That's us. We added a CG fire truck. And then we said, oh, wait, it should have blinking lights. So you'll notice we added blinky lights. There they are. We tracked those in. So airplane, background, fire truck, blinky lights, people added, money saved. This is an actress. This is a scientist arriving at a military base going, thank God you're here. The Dynacataclysmatron is out of control. You designed it. How do we stop it? So we needed a shot of the beautiful, smart scientist arriving at the military base from a helicopter. Again, what does it cost to rent a helicopter and shoot that? That's money. Or you shoot a green screen. We go online to a company called Turbo Squid that sells 3D objects. We bought a CG helicopter. We didn't even build it. We bought this for $200 online. We added a CG pilot sitting in the pilot seat, moving his head. And if you hit play, this is what we did in 1 week. Stop. This is the shot where, different movie, our hero lands and says, come on, guys, everything's safe and sound. This is what the shot was supposed to look like. It is not a successful shot, and the reason is we shot it indoors. We have a real helicopter, but the helicopter was actually in a hangar. They got permission to shoot in the helicopter, but not to take it outside. So we had to cheat. Hit play, you'll see what we did. Yes, he's in a soundstage, and we added everything around him. Stop. Frequently, we love to do winter movies where they're at Arctic conditions. So this is the back of our studio. This is the parking lot, and we have our actors walking in towards the Arctic base that they're supposed to be stationed at. What you see on the left is what we really shot. On the right, we gave them an Arctic background. Those snow skis are 3D. We actually went to Turbo Squid, bought 3D snow skis, and stuck them into the plate. Hit play. This is, again, where you save time and money. She's supposed to be on an ice lake chopping a hole because her friends are trapped in a car that's underneath the ice. So again, saving time and money. The actress is on a green screen. We found a picture of some ice and an ice hole because somebody in Siberia went ice hole fishing. We found that picture, stole it from the internet, stuck it in here, and this is what the movie looks like. This is that set I told you about. This is the one where you saw Tammy running around in the earthquake. This is the exterior of that. This is the monkey exhibit at Griffith Park, the old monkey exhibit. It's no longer used. It's now just a tourist attraction. So we took that tourist attraction, and thanks to the magic of Photoshop, we turned it into an underground cave. Play. This is an actual building in Thailand. It's supposed to be Troy. We made our version of Troy, Helen of Troy. So this was the scene in which the Greeks snuck out of their Trojan horse and sacked the city. So we said, okay, we found this location. It is a religious institute somewhere in Thailand, but notice it's got these pillars that look very, ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Troy kind of location. So we got permission to shoot there, and we said, I don't think Troy had a building that tall. So we're gonna have to get rid of that. And there's also a rather modern city in the background we also need to get rid of. So once again, Photoshop to the rescue. So hit play, and you'll see what we did. We got rid of all the buildings, the tall buildings. We got rid of modern Thailand. And here are actors on green screen. And we also shot birds against blue up in the sky. And this is what we did. Then we did a nighttime version that made it look burned. Then we used our fire library yet again, added some smoke. And this is what the movie actually showed, Troy being sacked. And then we did a daytime version to show that the next day, everybody had had a very bad day.
Okay. I still don't have those questions. I still don't have that Q&A bubble.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if there's any Q&A, like I said, at any point, guys, this is very much interactive. I should have said that at the beginning. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to stop me and ask me to explain something further. Or if you want to go off on a tangent, I don't have a problem with that. I'm here for you guys. So if you have questions, feel free to ask at any time. I should have made that clear. That's my fault. My bad. So I think we're okay.
Glenn, we do have one question. What resolution is all this rendered at to make it look realistic? How do you know what you're doing won't look like those walking people in Titanic?
Okay, we started at HD, which is 1920, 1080, but now everything is 4K, which is like 328 by 2060. I forget what it is. I should know this. But thank you. 3840 by 2060. That is 4K. And most people, 4K came out a lot faster than everybody thought. We were doing 4K years ago for future proofing because not everybody had a 4K TV. Now, all of a sudden, overnight, TVs suddenly cost $5 instead of, thousands of dollars. You can get a fairly high resolution television fairly cheaply. So we now work routinely in 4K. So yes, HD is the bare minimum, which is 1920, 1080. That's what you normally watch. If you go to a theater, and you watch a movie, technically movies are really about 4K. They used to be 2K. So 2048 by 1556. But that's the resolution that we work at now. And again, every movie we work on, we either shoot elements like the smoke and fire that you see here, we go out in a parking lot, we shoot stuff, or we buy it online. There are companies, there's one company called Action VFX that sells smoke and fire elements. You can actually go, and these are basically like $50 to $100. Somebody goes out, shoots high resolution fire, and puts it on the database, and anyone can buy it and download it and put it into their movie. Did that answer the question?
I believe so. We do have a few more. Do you want to answer them now?
Sure,
or?
I'm happy to answer them.
All right, we've got a few. We've got, Bob asks, would you render at 8K for future proof?
No, 8K is worthless. Honestly, it's the chip heads in the world love to say, you need to have this. This actually more closely approximates human vision. No one cares. Most people are watching these movies on their iPhones, or they're watching them on home on their TV screens. 8K does nothing except make things look horribly fake. It's so crystal clear and crisp, it looks like video. And you start to see, hey, that guy's got hair plugs. I can actually see the detail in his hair. I can see his makeup lines. 8K is only beloved by chip heads and hardcore nerds. The rest of the world is perfectly happy with, actually, they're perfectly happy with HD, to be honest, but 4K is the current standard. What we have learned is that you don't have to work in 8K. It's good to capture in 8K. You want to shoot at the highest resolution so that you can shrink it down and play with it. Nobody except ILM works in 8K. Everybody else works in 2K and 4K, and what we do is we blow it up. In After Effects, there is an incredibly powerful button called Detail Preserving Upscale. And when we first started at Asylum, we were HD. And a couple of years ago, our bosses said, we have to do everything in 4K. From now on, we work in 4K. And we said, well, doesn't that mean you have to build up the infrastructure? We need more storage space. We need 10K lines instead of 1K lines for throughput for data because it's larger, it takes longer. This is going to multiply geometrically and cause us lots of problems. And they said, make it happen with the exact same structure we have now. Somehow make that happen. So we did. We found out that using detail preserving upscale, we could take a 2K image and blow it up to 4K imperceptibly. And I know that sounds like I don't really believe that that's true. We did a test. We took an image, our very first test of 4K, we took an image from a sequence and I had it transferred at HD and I had it transferred at 4K. And I took it into After Effects, put the 4K scene down, took the HD scene, dropped it in on top of it, and what you saw was a 4K window with this small HD duplicate image on top of it. And I hit detail preserving upscale, and the HD image disappeared. And I thought, oops, I deleted it by accident. I messed up. And then I hit it, and it popped back on, and I went, I didn't delete it. It blew it up to 4K, and I couldn't tell. So then I zoomed in to the 4K image, hit the detail preserving upscale, and the pixel shifted 0.01%. And I realized we could actually blow up 2K to 4K imperceptibly. So I said to myself, I'm not going to tell my boss I'm doing this. He wants 4K, he's getting 4K. So I started working in HD, blowing it up to 4K, handing the shots in. They went through the entire production post pipeline. Not one company, not one separate outside vendor looked at any of our shots and said, something's not right here, guys. Everything else looks like 4K. This looks soft. This looks different. Something's not right. Literally not one person complained. Internally, one of our hardcore nerds found out we were doing it and came to me saying, this is a problem. I understand you're not using 4K. You're not working in 4K. This is not going to work. And I said, the last 4 movies were done that way. Did you notice? And he was, well, it's not right. And I go, let me show you. And I showed him my test. I said, here's the original 4K. Here's my HD. Let me blow it up. Let's zoom in and look at the pixels. And he looked at it and grudgingly said, okay. And he walked away with his tail between his legs. But again, this is what I do for a living. Trust me. So this is what I do. Yes, next question.
Got a couple good ones. Ram actually has a comment and a question. Being a movie buff, loved every second of your presentation. Awesome work. Thanks for sharing. So my question is it fair to assume that the scope of work must be super clear for you to do all this, quote, firework in all your projects more than anything else? How many times has your work been asked to improvise based on the stakeholders you've worked with?
Frequently. I'm going to do that on the next clip when I show you our snow show. That's a very good question. Table it for the second because I have a presentation on exactly that when we're forced to improvise. So table that one.
Let's move on to that next clip and then we'll circle back with more questions.
Okay.
If you're good with that.
All right. This was a major Christmas movie. This was done for like Hallmark. Hallmark, big budget, big audience, everything has to be right. So we were told we were going to do roughly about 20 shots. What they had done was the movie takes place, it's a fantasy. It takes place in a Christmas snow globe. It's basically Scrooge. You have a studio exec working at a TV network. She's a total biatch. She's being mean to everybody. And she has a Christmas snow globe that is a prop in the show. And she says, this looks like crap. And she throws it on the ground and it bounces back and hits her in the head and she falls to the ground. When she wakes up, she's in the village of the Christmas snow globe magic. And the entire movie takes place in the Christmas snow globe. And in the end, she wakes up. She's now back in the real world, but she's now spent an entire 2 hours in Christmas land, and she's learned to not be a terrible person. When she wakes up, she's now a nice person, and everybody's very confused. It's Hallmark. So that's the plot. So we needed to establish it's wintertime. We're at a studio. Christmas stuff happens. Then she goes into the Christmas snow globe. So knowing this, they went up north to some small town somewhere and dressed it to appear to be winter. And they didn't do a good job. We knew we were supposed to do a handful of shots of winterize the sets. What we didn't know was that they did such a bad job with the fake snow. Hallmark saw the movie and said, "What the hell is this? This sucks. Make this not suck." And my phone rang, and we went from 20 to 30 shots to 85. We had to improvise and fix shots that were never intended to be visual effects shots. This is what happened. Take a look. So standard stock shot, please winterize it. That's what we do, not a problem. So that's us having fun. Boom, she gets hit. Stop. On the left, that was their set decoration. This was their idea of making this town look like it's snow globe winter. And as you can see, they got cotton, stuck it around the bottoms of some trees and some lampposts, and said, "We're done. Welcome to Christmas land." And the studio went bananas and said, "Fix this." So on the right, this is what we did to 85 extra shots. Hit play. This is the Christmas snow globe. This was one of the shots we always intended to have. Oh, sorry. We just lost that. It's okay. Back up a little bit, please. There we go. Back up a little more, please. There we go. This was one of the planned shots. Please make this look like what's inside the Christmas snow globe. This was always intended to be an effect shot. This is not a problem. We changed the sky. We put snow. We made this look wintry. This is our job. Next shot, get ready to stop. Stop. What we weren't planning on is for them to put cotton on the ground and shoot the actress in close-up so that you could see she is lying on white cotton. The studio went nuts and said, "Fix this." So we had to go through the entire movie. This was never intended to be an effect shot, and we had to trace her, rotoscope her, to extract her from this plate, get real snow plates, and put them behind her. Hit play. And she's moving, and the camera's moving, and none of that was planned. So this is tracking in roto of the highest order. This is what we planned for. This is the set that they dressed up and said, "We need you to winterize this." This was one of the 20 shots that were covered. Hit play. And pause. This is how you make a movie. This is standard movie making. This would be done on a Spielberg movie just as much as it would be done on a movie I work on. On the right, you see what we did. On the left, they dress up just enough of the location to look wintry because they know I will do the shot on the right, establish in the audience's mind geography. This is a cabin in the snow. On the left, they shoot close-ups and they say, we know the audience has seen the wide shot. They can now shoot close-ups of the actress in that doorway, going in and out, opening the door, talking, doing whatever she needs to, and the audience will fill in the blanks. The audience will say to themselves, I've already seen the trees just off camera. When they shoot close-ups of the actress on the left, the audience fills in the blanks and says, right behind her is a snow-covered forest. So all my job is to give you little hints and pieces of geography, and that's what this shot is intended to do. This is standard filmmaking. This is the true use. This is the correct use of visual effects. Play. This was a shot again. We need to winterize this. This was always on us. They can't afford to go out and flock those trees with fake snow. So again, a large-scale shot like this is our job. Play.
Glenn, we are just about at time. And
Oh,
we'll take
sorry.
these folks to their sessions, but I
All right,
wanted
let's
to
just
wrap
play
up.
through then.
Okay.
I won't talk anymore. You can just see, again, this answers the question, what happens when you have to improvise? Half these shots, this was a shot that was planned for. This shot was not planned for. Awful looking fake snow. We had to fix it. So you'll be able to tell very quickly, again, fake snow, not working. You can tell very, very quickly here which shots were intended to be visual effect shots and which ones were not. This obviously, that was on us. We always knew this was going to be an effect shot. This is, again, us adding the snow, fixing the shot. This was an action. They messed up. This sequence, they added a new scene and needed to have the background, but they were back in Los Angeles. So we used the still frame from the movie to put her back into the location. Again, horrible fake snow. We fixed it. Once again, this was intended to be an effect shot. This is how you save time and money. But again, we fight the studio constantly on what's real and what's not and how much we spend on it. And that's the last shot of the movie. Welcome to Christmas Land. Okay, that's it. Do we have time for questions or am I
We do
done?
not. I'm sorry. I wish we did. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Glenn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,